There are always opportunities to kind of dim your light or hide. And one of the things that I've often said, it's a principle of the intensified life. We need to learn how to show up and shine. Even if life has dealt you some unfavorable hands or you've had to crawl from a deep, dark place, I know that this next guest is going to inspire you and give you courage to keep fighting, keep moving forward. And you need to stay tuned. This is Intensified Life. All right, ta-da! Now, if you are in social media, and especially in the Houston circuit, you have probably seen one of her posts because she's very raw, authentic online. She doesn't mind with that beautiful smile, also showing you some tears. This is Earlyssa Cooper, and she is a wonderful, wonderful soul who is a bright light and inspiration to many. But some of you don't know all that had to come with the package. Huh? Right, you're already reflecting.
Yes, and I am a crier.
I know. And listen, almost every episode I've cried. I'm gonna try not to cry this time. But that's the beauty about it. Intensified life means we're gonna always be our most authentic
Keep
self.
it real.
That's exactly one of the principles. Show up in your full authentic self. So this is a moment that I want you to tell us a little bit about who is Earlyssa, where is she from, how did you. And let me just start there, because I know I could ask like a million questions, but let's just take it in baby bites, all right?
All right. So I'm a 28-year-old warrior. I identify as a warrior, which is an overcomer, an experienced fighter or soldier, via Google's definition, but also through trial and tribulations through life. I identify as a warrior, and I'm from Missouri City, attended Willow Ridge, graduated in 2015.
Okay.
I graduated from Houston-Tillotson University in Austin as their poet laureate in 2020.
Awesome.
And I have a 2-year-old.
Wonderful. Now, let's go back. See, every time I ask just one question, it always leads to like 50 more. I want to know what it was like for you getting to your graduation as the pandemic was settling in. Because I'm also graduated in 2020. I didn't even get to participate in my commencement when I finished. So what was that like?
I'm still grieving.
I know, right?
Because you worked really hard and really diligently to not walk the stage, essentially.
Yeah.
They mailed our diploma, because it's a difference. And I held the piece of paper, but I didn't get the feeling, that experience. I feel like many of us were robbed that year, but I got it though.
Right. And it is a sense. At least I remember making the most of it. I had a video party. I just invited some people on Zoom, and we tried to
The more you know.
Yeah, I did. I had at least 30 people on a Zoom, and we tried to celebrate it, make the best. You know, I call it making the lemonade. You know, out of the lemons, and we weren't the only ones. But
that's wisdom.
Oh well, or desperation.
Both. Okay, look, both.
So you come out of Houston-Tillotson.
I do, proudly.
Yes, all right, represent. And then what did you study?
I studied mass communication, journalism, broadcast, TV.
Okay, so you are on your path to being in front of a camera.
Or behind.
Or behind the camera.
I'm gonna be loud regardless.
True to her authentic being.
Yeah.
Big personality, as big as your smile. Has that always been?
I would say I'm getting back to the outgoing version of myself. It was robbed.
Wow. So let's go there. What stole that bright smile, that joy, that big personality?
I wish there was another word to use, but trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trauma. I think after you experience certain things, it chips away a piece of you each time.
Yeah. Yeah. How long was the trauma? Was it one incident or repeated over a series or?
Elementary to current.
Oh.
Till right now, that's why I stay at the foot of Jesus, because I truly need him.
Yeah. Help me learn then, how did you learn to get to the feet of Jesus? When was that introduced to you?
Yeah, so I grew up in church, but going to church and being in church, I feel like are two totally different things.
Right.
So it was very routine. I was in a choir. I was doing the Sunday speeches or the Easter speeches, ushering, praise dance, going to church 3 times or 4 times a week. But it still wasn't real. I was borrowing maybe grandma's faith or auntie's faith. mama and them's faith, but now I have my own. I think it got really real for me December 13th, which was 2021, which is the day after my dad was murdered.
Oh, wait. That deserves a pause, because that wasn't like.
It's not normal.
Yeah.
But if you're always around death and trauma, unfortunately it is for some of us, you know. Yeah. I still don't think that I grieved that the way I was supposed to.
Why didn't you? Or why don't you think you did?
Because I needed to be there for my family.
Oh.
Yeah. Like his
now, are
siblings.
you the oldest? Are you the?
I was his only kid, but
Okay.
like he had siblings that he left behind, and their parents had all just died within that last 3 years. So like everyone took it really bad, and it was a lot. So I felt like that was my time for my faith to really rise, and to show people like if his daughter can become sold out for Christ, that faith is contagious as well as fear is contagious. So I was able to like minister through that time. I remember vividly. So before December 12, 2021, I always attempted suicide. My last attempt for suicide was September of that year. My dad is who took me to the hospital, who stayed, who waited, who prayed, and then he was taken from me in the next 60 to 90 days. So that's when I was like, okay, God wanted one of the Earls, but not both of the Earls. He wanted to kill a piece of me that wanted to kill me, but he doesn't want me dead because my race isn't finished yet. So it was a really big pill to swallow, but the more I spend time with Jesus, the more he, as you were saying earlier, unraveled more of who I was predestined to be. Now I'm on that road, like so excited, a little nervous, a little scared, a little afraid, but with mustard seed faith, I'm like, I really want to meet the woman that you predestined me to be. Who am I becoming? I know what the past looks like, but this seems so much more promising and peaceful. So yeah, I think that's how I got here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's unpack just a little bit. As much as you are comfortable,
Okay.
you know, as much as you give yourself permission to share, because this is heavy. This is a lot.
It is.
And I know that you are not the only person who has experienced trauma, maybe not in the same exact way, but I find it interesting. We're recording this in the month of May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month.
And it's tatted on me.
Yeah, listen, it's with her wherever she goes. She's gonna talk about it all the time, literally.
It's a semicolon on the back of my neck as well.
Because God doesn't put a period there.
No, he didn't let me take myself out.
So do you recall why you first attempted and why you kept trying? Because you said it was a number of times, multiple times. Do you remember the very first place that you were in mentally, spiritually, psychologically, to have grown up in the church but still find yourself right there?
I was in either the 5th or the 6th grade, again in the 8th grade, 10th grade, 12th grade, 3 times in college, and then that last time in 2021. I think I just recollect all of them, but I very well could have missed one. I do recall each time though, and each time I would yell at God, like cursing or screaming, like, why am I still here? I don't want to be here. Till this day, I don't know if I truly 100% want to be here, but I never think about plotting a way to leave because I have my child.
Yeah. What tipped you over the edge to say, this is what I want to try?
Saying that I'm not okay and not being believed. Because in a black house, anything that they can't see, so if you don't have cancer or a cold or something that's physical, it's not believed as quickly. So I was always taught this is white people stuff, or what goes on in this house stays in this house, all things that have bled into other black families as well. But that's the reason I advocate, and I advocate loudly. I sure do. Because I believe that my voice is necessary, but giving you the courage to truly believe and receive your voice is necessary helps your bloodline.
Absolutely. So after multiple attempts, and it was finally that you realized after the murder of your father, this is not the way to go.
Right.
what else was going on in your life in that season? Because that's enough. That's definitely enough. But what gave you the push to just kind of say, that's not an option for me?
So fun fact, my dad was shot in his heart. His name was Earl. I'm Earlyssa. My social media handle was already the Heart of Earl.
Wow.
That's when I knew. I'm like,
wow.
and I got chills. They tell me about this sovereign God, all-knowing God, the God that knew you in your mother's womb. So like I was able to remember all the things that have been planted in me in that moment. And I no longer needed to borrow your faith. Yeah, my faith, it was there. Yeah.
So and I love the way you said the things that were planted in you. This is why, and I'm just going to emphasize this is why even sometimes when your children or your nieces or nephews or whoever it may be don't feel like church is relevant or those Bible studies are relevant or going to those youth events, those things. Right. It may be routine for a season, but there is something being planted. There is something hidden on the inside, and just when you least expect it, or just when they would even least expect it, that stuff can start sprouting, blooming, and it could literally save their lives.
Agreed.
It could save their lives. So don't stop, parents.
No,
and
please keep training that child up.
Yeah, keep going. And if you happen to be the child who is growing up in a circumstance that is less than favorable, don't disqualify or discount yourself thinking that it's not working, or I don't see everything the way I would imagine it to be, because God has a way of bringing everything to fruition in its time.
I'm a living witness. I am.
So tell me about where you are now, because that was not very long ago. Let's just pause and say that's just 4 years ago.
I feel very led to share that I was Saul before I was Paul.
Okay.
So, 18, still really not well with my mom. My dad was a street guy, like it wasn't a secret. Everyone knew it, so if you see his video, it's not like I'm lying, okay? And I remember always being hidden, all the things, and I promised myself, and I think that's one thing about when you make your mind up. When I leave, I'm not moving back, I'm not coming back, yada, yada. That was 18, graduated, immediately went into the world to explore, but also in a way to protect myself. But eventually more trauma came through me trying to protect me. Because at 18, you're still a kid, truly.
Very much so.
But I started stripping at 18. I was introduced to drugs at 18. And I became nomad. So I was still in school, but I would always drop out and go travel. And I was introduced to psychedelics and tarot cards, crystals, sage, psych readings, all of it. And that's when I truly understood the dark, like the underworld is what we call it, is more than real. And once you start to dabble in it, you start to open up doors, footholds, I believe it's called, for the enemy. But once I got exposed to it, what the enemy did at that time was made me think all of these people I found on the road cared for me. So it was a trick, but a trick I didn't know until clearly after the storm was set to derail me and rob me of all the promises of God. So what I would do is walk other people into a lifestyle and against Christianity. So I do feel like the reason I praise the way I praise and I shout and I scream is because I almost didn't make it out. And it's a real lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you wake up every morning and you pray with your crystals, or you go outside and you put your crystals with the full moon, where does Jesus have the opportunity to be in relationship with you when you already chose rocks over the word?
Wow.
So I'm able to sympathize and hold space for people that do it now, but I also have that authority to speak to it because I made it out. I had someone put a curse over me, and I had someone else tell me the only way a curse like that works is if you believe it. And I had to really start remembering, what did grandmama say? What did Grammy say? You know, and I feel like all of the dark, and I could truly say this, I feel like all of the darkness was necessary. I think people misunderstand me because I am loud and outgoing, but I'm not kind for no reason. I don't walk into a room and smile from ear to ear for no reason. It was something I fought for.
Yes.
You know, I don't say I'm a warrior because I've never won a war or battle. I have.
Yeah.
I've looked it right in his face and told it he can't take me. Even if who I was looking at was the person in the mirror. You know, so, yeah, that's why I am who I am, how I am. And oftentimes, even like currently, I'll try to pull back and God's like, I didn't call you to be that.
Right.
I called you to be loud and outgoing and kind. And I'm like, after everything, and he's like, after everything.
Yep.
So yeah, I wanted to share that. I was Saul, but I repented, I turned away, I have not turned back. And that was for many years of my 20s. And now I am Paul, and I'm telling everybody about the good news because it changed my life.
Yes.
It changed my life. Okay, and they got the power to change yours. Okay.
That's it. I'm gonna say she's Pauline.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
I'm not messing up my mascara today.
I'm
not
having
doing
none
it.
on. Okay.
So listen, I have to dig a little deeper in that because one of the things that I have been troubled by. This idea, well, it's all good, it's all spirit, it's all whatever. And some of you have, in some private conversations with me and in some other spaces, but you know that we are called to be separate and
the
set
universe.
apart. Yeah, all of that. Like this is not to play with, and it's a way it's a way to diminish the sovereignty, the person, the being of God. And I worry. And not a negative worry. I know God is sovereign and God is in control, but I'm concerned about how many people who are now in the church and claim Christianity, but it's Jesus and this, Jesus and that, Jesus and this. And I appreciate people like you and others that I know of who have made it very, very clear this is a real warfare.
Oh yeah. Okay, boom. This is a very touchy conversation for anybody that I see 18 to 35, which is literally young adult age, right? I'm always put in a position of, Lord, am I being obedient or judgmental? What does it look like to repeat what you say without adding my own twist or flair or opinion or experience? But I cannot sit there and allow you to say anything about the universe when I know the creator of it. I vividly remember, so Jesus blessed me with a car in this January, but I didn't have a car for 498 days. Someone at our church offered me a ride. When I got in, it was crystals all on her dashboard.
Wow.
And for me, big red flag, sirens, because it's overlapping and Jesus isn't at the forefront. And how I'm able to see it and say it is because I walked it and lived it.
Right.
And I think that that's when God like nudges me in the back and he's like, no, I'm telling you. So I'll like, you know, I think the first time I say it is more of a question, like me opening up dialogue and then your response kind of lets me know where we're at. After that, maybe some days or weeks goes by and I pray for you and about you, and maybe in a month or so, I bring it back up and maybe a snippet of it has changed. But that's good. I think sometimes we're looking at people and we want them changed like that. Because like you said, we're worried, we're concerned, but I think concern roots in we care.
And let me say, just because also you care because you know what that could lead to.
Right.
You've
and
been there.
It's I've actually saw really scary, really demonic things, but at the time I'm just thinking that it came with the lifestyle that I chose. And
yeah, and that's true. I mean, we make choices and we see the consequences and the results of that. But people who are sensitive and when God has brought you out, like literally snatched you out of something, you have, most times people have a real low tolerance. You're very, very sensitive and discerning about this stuff because you know what it took to be the warrior and to have to fight your way to another place of peace.
Right.
Yeah.
I threw all of my sound bowls, crystals, all of it, like tarot cards, like sage, all of it, and many more things away because why would I want to gift that to you? And that's a seed in your life, like, you know? But even, I want to say Christmas or my birthday last year, I got a sound bowl and it was like, oh, I got to repent. even for me, you giving it to me and me holding it, because this could have taken me back to a place that I was at, but my faith has grew. You know, so now I was like, oh, I'm gonna chunk it in the trash, and I'm gonna tell her, hey, look, I ain't who I used to be.
All right.
Yeah.
Now so let me turn this, because this smile has reminded me you're not who you used to be. You made a statement just a second ago. You said it'll plant a seed. Now you are planting different seeds. I knew. She comes ready. She come packing, y'all. She comes packing. Hold that up. I want everybody to see what that is. Now tell us tell us the story behind this.
Yeah. Okay, so my dad was murdered December 2021. I got pregnant June or July of 2022. To backtrack and answer your question, around the time where I became sold out again, I was still in a deep search for the love my dad gave me. And that led me into the arms of many men that preyed, P-R-E-Y, on my vulnerability, grieving process, and loneliness, essentially. I was a daddy's girl. Everyone knew it. Everyone could see it, feel it. Met someone from middle school, high school, got pregnant within 3 months. Very bad breakup. Fast forward, I'm alone during my pregnancy, grieving my dad still. And I've miscarried many times. So also at 21, so it's like that. This is what I'm saying with trauma. Yeah. I never had a full year of just being able to breathe.
Yeah, at peace. Just.
Yeah. So at HT, my HBCU, a guy tried to kill me. So I was pregnant then and lost that kid, but after the doctor told me like, oh, you can't have kids, I was 21. But he really should have said, you can't have kids by someone that's physically beating, like putting their hands on you. So we fast forward and I'm still believing what the doctor said. And I'm like, oh, I can't bear kids. So I'm telling my partner this, and he's like, oh, I want to marry you. I want you to have my kids, yada, yada. We get pregnant. I'm still having that self-doubt, if you will, because of the miscarriages before. And I hear God tell me in my 3rd trimester in 2023, get up and go to Walmart. And I'm like, Walmart? What I would like to say is when you get in relationship with God, with Jesus, and you spend that intimacy with him, his voice becomes very clear. So I knew for sure I heard it. Okay, look, I ain't always obedient. But this night I was, and I got to Walmart, and I'm like, all right, Daddy, where we going? Because when you get that rapport, you get that rapport. He's like, go to look for mustard seeds. I'm like, oh, I don't see them. But I'm not no quitter. I asked the lady at Walmart. She hands me a jar of mustard seeds. I hold it in my hand. I vlog this as well. So I have it in like my memory. And I feel like the world stopped for maybe 10 seconds legit. Because I was like, is this the mustard seed faith you're talking about? We fast forward. I start to pray. I still just have the bottle. I start to pray. I get invited to brunch for someone to give me like a baby shower gift, and she has on her keychain this exact thing, and I lose it. I'm wobbling at this little restaurant, and I'm like, what? And she's like, girl, I will send you the Amazon link, and I'll jumpstart it, like I'll buy it for you. So she planted the seed or whatever, got the first 50 jars, and started to pray over them as I still do today. Lord, allow this seed to be planted. I decrease so that you may increase, Lord. Allow this to become a harvest in their faith life. Boom. And that brings us to today, 2025. And I also remind people this isn't for show. This is because I've lived it, I walk it, I've seen it come to pass. God is faithful.
Amen.
Whatever the mountain is. But I love how kind God is, if you will, because I'll be down, I'll be sad, I'll be discouraged, whatever, and then someone will literally in the nick of time text me and send me a picture. Hey, look what I just found. Or, hey, God told me to remind you, mustard seed faith for the mustard seed lady, and I'm just rocked. because that's my daddy and he know his kids,
Yes,
you know?
yes.
So yeah, that's the story of the mustard seed. I do always keep them on me because sometimes you gotta remember. Like I have to remember. Don't just hand it out, walk it out. Yeah. So that's the long drawn out story, but the details aren't necessary.
Absolutely, very important. And what I hear in that is that even in some of your low days and even in some of your not so sunshiny days.
Right, because they come.
They do. And all of that is necessary to water, to nurture a plant. You can't have only sunshine.
Come on, gardening.
You can't have only that. You have some rain and you have the soil which has to be fertilized.
Come on.
That doesn't smell good. But
I know.
you have to have all of that to create a healthy, vibrant, fruitful, prosperous tree, plant, whatever it is. So that's a good thing. Now, how did you get into poetry? I'm just jumping right in because I want to know. I could imagine that was, I'm guessing, a way that you could express some things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if we all collectively remember, in elementary, we would do different segments and then it would be followed by a show to perform at. So if it was Black History, you would learn about Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and then there would be a Black History show about it. It was the same thing for, it was some type of show, but we started the poetry segment in 4th grade in Miss Terry's class, and I remember her walking around the class and saying, "You have a gift, never put down your pen." That's the name of my first poetry book that I dropped.
Good.
Yeah.
That's really good. And thank God for teachers and positive reinforcement.
Amen.
People who actually see a gift regardless of all other things.
And nurtures it.
Yeah.
You know, not just the talking version of me or the misbehaving version. Because I'm an advocate for your kid isn't just acting up for no reason.
Yeah.
Perhaps they need a little more attention, a little more love, a little more understanding, if you will.
And kindness, the word that you just keep using over and over. That kindness goes a long way.
I think kindness is like a limb in my ministry, if you will. Because kindness has kept me.
That's good. So what are your favorite things to write about? What type of poetry, how would you describe yourself as a poet?
I would say all of my poems are testimonies.
Okay.
So if I made it out the domestic violence relationship, I'll write a series about it. I write about suicide. I write through what I'm going through. So yeah, it's all real life experiences. Yeah, write about heartbreak, write about the time I tried to love, write about what it feels like to give birth, how it feels to live through postpartum, how it feels to not say yes to the call, how it feels to say yes to the call. I just enjoy writing.
So whatever you're living through and also whatever is inside of you, it has to come out through, usually through some poetic expression. Tell me a little bit about from postpartum to now, and I love your son's name. Of course, it's going to be something rooted in the word, but tell us a little bit about from postpartum to this smile you have now when you just look at him or you think about it, talk about it.
Postpartum tried to peel me apart, but God, it's a very real thing for people that have experienced it. I see you, I stand with you. Yeah, it was a very not good time. Yeah, to be asked to have a kid and then to be abandoned, if you will. And then it's my sole literal job to keep this baby alive, simply alive. I had to have Zion early, rushed.
Say the name again.
Zion. Okay, but also pause, flag on the play. This was not out the Bible. I looked Zion right in his face and be like, you know, Lauryn Hill named you, right? So it goes from that because she said, and I'm always a person of lyricism, right? I touched my belly overwhelmed and I was like, yep. Yeah, it was either Zion or Journey.
Okay.
Because you gotta fall in love with the journey and then what Lauryn Hill said about getting pregnant with her son Zion.
Wow.
Yeah, but then God was like, you probably should, because you keep hearing these folks say it about the Bible, go read it.
Right.
So now I understand. And I'm like, but God is so kind and sovereign. He knew I was going to eventually get my mind right. With my rainbow baby. So we call rainbow babies God's promise after the rain. So if it rains, everybody's like, oh, look, a rainbow. That's my son. So like, I'm like, okay, after all the storm, or after every storm, all the storms, here is that rainbow. Full of life, outgoing, loud.
I was going to say, like his mama.
You feel me? He's very much so like me.
And what have you learned most about life or even your relationship with God based on how you and Zion interact? I always ask this question because I know that there is something different when you have a kid. And I don't have children, but I just know for people who do, it just takes you into another whole realm of your spiritual walk because you get it as a parent now.
Right.
There's something deeper in your relationship with God.
Oh, there's so many different ways I can answer that question. I think, okay, good, clock it, okay. Number one, motherhood is a ministry.
Yep.
So like anything else, you want to steward it well and upright. And I felt like God started to really reveal that verbiage to me last year. He's like, look, hey, you can't afford to be lazy or to slack or to be angry and share with your son or to have routine and not have routine. Just like your walk with me, I need you to be sold out. It takes a lot of tenacity, grit, resilience, if you will, to show up every day as a very intentional mom. Because you're tired. I just told you, I probably didn't sleep a handful of hours and it's been a couple of days. No one is coming to reward me for that. But I know my kid still needs to eat. He still needs to get loved on. He still needs to pray with mommy. He still needs to do colors, alphabet, all of the things. And I understand right now is a very important time for his development. So I have to continue to sacrifice. But isn't that like Jesus? You know, so I'm starting to really understand that. And then on the, I guess the flip side, I'm remembering deeply and consistently my mom was someone's daughter. Yeah. And although I'm extremely intentional and all the things with my son, I'm still going to mess up one day. He's still going to acknowledge mommy fell short in some way one day. And now I look at my mom and we're not still like that. But I crave to help more. I crave to be more respectful. I crave to not go toe-to-toe with her because I understand now more than ever, mommy was a daughter and someone's baby before, and how was she treated? Because essentially we, without being intentional, pass down exactly what we know.
Yeah, because it's all you know.
Because
that's
it's all
you
you
have
know.
to give. And I've learned in watching others and in my own life, you know, it's okay also to admit we are very different.
Oh,
when that happens, and that's okay.
And I'm not better than you or anything.
Absolutely.
I'm simply different.
Just different. And different does not mean deficit. It does not mean anything that is bad. It's just different. But we can still love and find a place for that.
I agree.
Yeah. So you do poetry, obviously, with your degree. You're going to be in front of the camera, behind the camera somewhere. Her name is that of a superstar, she said earlier. When I first met you or saw you, I saw you for the first time at the church, and you were absolutely expressive. I didn't know that you were loud or anything like that. I don't remember thinking that, but I just knew you were your own person. Let's just say it like that. You were your own person, and I like those kind of people. Like, again, an intensified life principle: show up in your full, authentic self, and shine, whatever way that is. Don't diminish that. But what I appreciated is one of the conversations that we had that I really, I replay it actually. I appreciate it and I replay it because there was something very pure and real in the hunger, the desire to grow, the hunger for the word. It's one thing to be expressive, loud and all that and have no substance.
Come on.
It's different when you are actually seeking God. You want real, you want truth, you want to grow, you want to be a person of character, integrity, and you're okay working through whatever the rough edges are because you're about something. You're intensified. Tell me a little bit about what that feels like now, because that was some months ago. I don't remember exactly when it was, but where are you right now in your journey? What would you describe as God's lessons for you in this day?
I would say I'm still hungry.
Yeah.
But now, because I have done the work, and it's not an end goal, you know, I think maybe I'll go to God about something and then I'll have homework and I'll have to go down this rabbit hole, but then he'll bring me out and he's like, go testify, go help someone else learn this lesson, yada, yada. Where I'm at today, I believe is surrendering. I'm in a season where I'm like, okay, God, here's my will, and I know this is your will for me, so we're tug-of-warring, truthfully. I'm like, I don't fully want to give up this idea or this goal or this dream, and he's like, but I'm asking you to. So with poetry, God specifically, so an example, to not talk in circles, is poetry is what everyone knows me for, loves me for, however the cookie crumbles. And it's also something I've got really good at / comfortable. And comfortable in Christ, I just don't think it coexists too well.
Hold on. Where's the alarm? That's what I'm talking about. The intensified life, you can never settle in, get comfortable, cross your legs, and say, okay, I'm good, I'm chill. No. Ooh, that was so good. I'm gonna have to clip that.
Yeah, he like...
I'm serious. Listen, what you just described is the very essence of why I wrote a book about it and why it just stays with me. Because even after you grow into that new level, you can't get comfortable.
Hey, I need more of you. I'm not done with you. If I were done with you, they would put dirt on you. So I had to sit up and be like, oh, so he would jerk me up and I'm like, oh, he getting me with my shirt. He like, you're getting too comfortable. And in poetry specifically. So now I have to learn again, not the master, but the student. And my arena, which is the arts. I called you to write the plays, write the movies, write the whatever. But if you stay in the box you put you in, I never put you in that box.
That's right.
And you're allowing other people to clap for the box. But the box stunts what I am telling you I have for you.
People clap for the box. They clap and appreciate what is limiting you.
Yeah. It's equivalent to when you have a water bottle and you put the cap on, but God is like, I'm not telling you, your well doesn't need a cap. Like, you don't need a cap. You're allowing them to put a cap on you and you're sitting there. And I'm telling you, that's not...
Right.
Yeah.
And if we're not careful, becoming addicted to the applause will kill what God wants to do to cause you to go further.
Which I have.
Yeah. That was good.
Yeah.
I saw it.
No,
I literally saw the picture.
And I felt it when I said it. Come on, Holy Spirit. Come on, Holy Spirit.
Yeah. See, and one of the things I love, I told you before we started, I never really script. We don't do a whole lot of back talk because I like the authentic conversation. And without fail, every one of the podcasts and the conversations that I know in my gut that we're supposed to have, these intensified life principles keep coming up. She didn't even know we were going to get to this place. I didn't know.
No.
But that essence of getting unstuck, stop settling in this little box frame, unlearn is one of those. Sometimes you have to unlearn to learn a new thing.
Oh, that's
and
where
you
I'm
got to
at.
go back to school. So that's it? You unlearn to get, okay.
I have to unlearn so much. Yeah, and a lot of it comes from what I learned as a kid, what I was taught. I have to unlearn because perhaps you were taught something out of survival, but not out of Christian principles.
Right.
You know?
Love or freedom or any of those things.
Like any of the fruits. Like survival is the opposite of bearing the fruits of the Spirit. So...
yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I feel like the season I'm in causes me to isolate a lot, but isolation for someone that struggles with mental health could take you down a dark rabbit hole in a bad way. So I'm like, Lord, while you're talking to me and I am in solitude with you, how do I stop it from becoming isolation from my community, from doing life outside of church or choir rehearsal or whatever? How do I maintain? So yeah, I'm there, wanting to be obedient, sold out, unlearning, relearning, having that ear to hear, not pushing people away. What does that look like? And
I think that is a journey we are forever in because life will always bring new circumstances, new situations. We meet new people. And as we grow, we will encounter new things and think about it differently. We'll perceive it differently. And God is always going to keep stretching us and, like you said, pulling you by that shirt.
Jacking me straight up.
Jacking us up. Wow. I am grateful that you allowed me to dig into your life like this.
No problem.
I am always, I'm honestly, I'm wowed because I try to just hear and ask God for the names, because I think there are more stories. There are more real people. Like we read the Bible and we look at these men and women and sometimes forget they are so very human. All their flaws are there too. So we see the humanity, but sometimes they're so far removed and we forget that God is doing some of the same phenomenal great things of saving, delivering, rescuing, calling people out, transforming lives, and they're literally touchable. They're touchable. They're right here. And someone else needs to know, if they are in the 10th grade, 12th grade, if they felt robbed because the parent they were closest to is no longer there, or if they've been experiencing trauma after trauma, or if they've been dipping and testing out some things in the underworld, but you know in your spirit, that's not where God wants you to be. I'm glad that you came to open up all of that and help us see the light and the seed, the mustard seed of faith. That's all it takes to move mountains. That's all it takes,
literally.
That's all it takes. What's next? Anything new coming up? Tell us how to find you. Are you doing poetry anywhere?
I have 2 books dropping in the summer. A children's book for Zion and another collection of poetry, but I really want to get into film. So if someone is watching this video and wants to help me with that, please do.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell us.
My @ is The Heart of Earl on all platforms, and then I have a website, The Heart of Earl.
Wow. This is good. It's done my heart well.
Thank you. I appreciate all the people you could have asked me. You asked me. I feel very grateful.
Well, I told you, I really try to hear. I want real stories, real conversations that will reinforce the fact that as believers, this is the day we live in. We cannot afford to be all chill, relaxed, and act like the world is fine, whatever. I understand the sovereignty of God, so let's not get it twisted. I understand God is sovereign and things will happen according to God's will and word, but there's a part we play in our pursuit of God, in our hunger for God, in our surrender.
And people are essentially watching us.
Absolutely.
Who was that man named Jesus? If I never saw you at church, do I see the church in you? And I think that's what I'm on a mission to learn. Am I representing the body of Christ correctly?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's where I grew to be. But man, somebody knew me from just merely 5 years ago, but God.
And it's all good, because there'll be somebody else who will have that same testimony, but they'll remember, oh wait, look how God was using her. Listen, that means you're not disqualified.
Hey, and don't let them disqualify you.
Absolutely. You're not disqualified. You qualify. You qualify.
Tag, you're it.
There's the challenge. So listen, this is why we want you to leave your comments. We want you to leave your comments. We want you to like. We want you to subscribe and share this. You know someone who will be uplifted, who will be encouraged, who might even be challenged in a God direction just by listening to this, watching this YouTube podcast. And I'm grateful not only that Earlyssa came and let me have a little bit of her time, but we were actually hosted here at the Ensemble Theater, a place I thought would be perfect for one who is going to be on stage and doing film and all the things. So we try to make it real for you. Listen, I don't have much else to say. I think all that has been said is certainly enough for you to digest, for you to pray about. Keep her in your prayers, keep me in your prayers as well. And I think together we're going to keep moving towards what God has for us, intentional about an intensified life. Intentional about an intensified life. Subscribe, like, share. We'll see you next time. That's good.
Yeah, that was good.
Thank you so much. Anything else you thinking you needed to say? Are you good?
I am good.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, you have really had me on this journey. And I am grateful. It's not often, like you were saying, when we were talking about like the grieving process and slowing down to feel it, but it's not often where you sit down and reflect. Not only on the bad, but the good. Like, and you brought me out. Absolutely. I sought the Lord and he heard me.
Come on.
That song take me straight to a place. Yeah, I appreciate this.
That's good. I'm glad you were able to, and it was like it was just us right here.
Intimate.
Yeah.